Welcome to episode 17 of URI Just Getting Started. This is a special report podcast. And after exhaustive research, who do I have better than Mr. Kenny Green, inarguably the best big man in URI history? I know because I've been reading this book, watching hours, 80 hours maybe of video reel. I even tracked down Sly Williams.
Did you really? Wow.
Yeah. Now I didn't get Steve Chubin. I couldn't. All I got was his voice on the podcast. But it's pretty cool what's out there.
Yeah.
Tonight, what we're doing. This is a special night. We're picking. We both have a list of the top 5 players whose numbers should be retired and their jerseys should be hung on the rafters at the Ryan Center. It's a mouthful. I'm glad I was able to get that. So we picked our numbers, and as always, Kenny, it's great to see you. We always have a great time talking.
Definitely.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
Before we get started, I want to go back to a video. You were my first guest about a year ago. Now we're on episode 17. You were the first one I thought of, and you said something interesting.
Only thing I wish for this school, and I said it when the first game that I came back that I saw, all I want is for the school to retire some of these guys' numbers. I think it's needed. I think it's going to benefit the program. And the only reason I say that is when you bring a recruit in, and that recruit has been to other schools, maybe big schools, and they look over the rafters and they see 3 jerseys retired. I said, any kid's going to say to himself, nobody else went to school here? No other player went to school here that they can retire their numbers? So I think that's something that's needed for this program and for the school. And I think when that's done, and it sounds really small, but when it's done, I think our chances of getting high-profile players coming out of high school is going to be a step forward.
Well, that's a pretty powerful statement. I really wasn't expecting that. And now I'm all in. And
my perception of it hasn't changed. Excuse me, talking to a couple other guys, talking to some of the former players and some of my teammates, and we all have the same thought on this. Because we've all been throughout our careers, and even after URI, we've been to other collegiate schools and collegiate arenas. And to see names and numbers in the rafters of players, one, it brings back memories of those players. And like I said, 2, I think it's so vital in the recruiting process. Everybody says, well, a lot of it depends on the coach. It does. But I think more of it depends on what they look forward to as a player at your school. Like I said to somebody, I said, listen, I would love to bring my kids back at some point and say, because, they've got video, they've got posters, they've got clippings, they've got all that. But to bring them back and just say, there's your father there. I mean, that's a great feeling. And I still don't understand why it's taking as long as it's taken. I mean, and I get that talking to some of the administration, well, where do we start? How do we start? Who cares? Start. I mean, nobody's going to be upset if you say that Hassan Martin is going to be the first person you put in the rafters. Nobody, as far as players are concerned, none of us would be upset because we know that's the beginning of the process, and the process is rolling now. So I'm like, it doesn't make a difference who you choose. First of all, put a committee together.
Mm-hmm.
put a committee of ex-players, former players.
Yeah.
You know, you want to do something, put together a group of 5 from different eras, put them in a room, let them hash it out. It'd be a lot easier because now you're dealing with players, and players are very honest when it comes to who they feel is better than them or who they feel deserves it more, especially as we become older.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's just because it hasn't happened yet, and it's been so long, Scott. I
think it's a money generator, actually. And I'll go one step further.
I honestly believe that also.
Let's sell them, give you guys a percentage, and they'll make a percentage. I don't know.
I believe
rules NCAA, and it's also going to increase attendance. And we have some pretty good names.
I believe that also.
Now, after this exercise, and we're probably going to argue about one of them. I probably know about that. Without any further ado, let's go over to the PowerPoint that has both of our picks. We'll get it right out there. So basically, the difference between Kenny and my picks is he has Steve Chubin instead of himself. I have Kenny, and I have Lamar Odom. So let's battle it out now. How the heck can you not put yourself on this list? And I'm also going to let you give me a bashing about putting Lamar Odom on this list because he was only here for a cup of coffee. And I'll tell you my reason, but let's, before we show the PowerPoints on each one and the video, do you have any answer to that, Mr. Green, on why you're not on that list?
Because I honestly believe that the guys that I picked are more deserving. For Steve, for Sly, those are the guys who came before me. Those are the guys who came before Silk and Tommy and Tyson. They set the standard at the school. I really believe that. Their names are in the record books. As we all know, over time, records are broken. But those guys, for me, set the standard. I was a guy who came to school and I wanted to know the history of the players at the school. So I researched and I studied who was before me. So I knew what these guys did and how important they were to the program before I got there.
Really?
So when I say that for guys like Steve Chubin and Sly Williams, I truly believe that if anything, in my opinion, they should be in that first catalog of players, names, jerseys, however they want to do it, to be retired.
Okay, fair enough.
Whenever, if it ever happens that my name or my number would be chosen, so be it. But I personally don't believe that I deserve to be in that first catalog of players for it to be done with.
Okay, now I gave you my hard time. What do you think about me having Lamar Odom on this?
No.
Give it to me, Kenny.
For me personally, yeah, Lamar. We all know what he did when he was there. We all knew what he did when he left school. But to be there for only 1 year, I think that there's so many more deserving players who spent 4 or 5, whatever it may be, years there. And I don't know Lamar personally. I was gone when he was there and stuff like that, so I don't know him personally. But if I'm just going by my feeling and my gut, I just can't see retiring his name or number. I can't.
Well, I think this is kind of good that we both have extremely controversial picks right there.
Sure.
And I think everyone would say, Scott, what are you talking about? And exactly what you said. He's been here for one season. He was out for a year and a half, so he was a little rusty.
Yeah.
We'll get to him, but let's start. Well, I mean, you could see his numbers here. I'm blocking his point total, but I think the number that's clear in here is 13.4. I was there freshman year, sitting on the bench, watching him up close, take it to the hole, and he did not look like a freshman at all.
Yeah.
And you know what? He did not have good players on the team. I'm just being honest.
No, and that's the truth. It is.
But he never did he lose his composure and blame anyone and make a face or anything like. He just kept going on and he did his thing. And they only won about 5 games, but they were competitive for all of those games under Brendan Malone. So, and he's number 10. His favorite player is my favorite player in the history of Walt Frazier. Now we officially like it. Let's dig in a little more to Silk. You know, he's the all-time leading scorer. This is really strange to see. An all-time leading scorer and second in assists in the history of the program. I had a guy on Flora McGuinn. Do you remember that guy? He was a hired gun.
Yep.
He called himself a shoot first point guard. Never heard that before. But he piloted the Sweet 16 team, which was one of the greatest runs. I see a pathway to a Final Four for you guys after studying that. He's first guy to ever have 2,000 points.
I mean, Scott, I'm just going to break in here. How can he not be the first guy? I mean, if you're looking at your PowerPoint, all-time leading scorer after 30 some odd years, number 2 in assists after 30 some odd years, number 1 in field goals made, number 1 in minutes played. I mean, basically, he's checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
And with all the players who have come after this guy, and nobody to break or to dethrone him of being an all-time leading scorer, that for one just shows how special of a player that this kid was. So how do you not take him first?
Yeah.
But I mean, and I always tell people, maybe I'm biased because I played with the guy and we're great friends to this day. I mean, we see each other pretty regularly. So, but it's just, if you're looking at statistics, if you're looking at what his career was and what his career meant to the Rhode Island program, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I can sit there and say the same about Tommy, you know, but Tommy's stats don't check the boxes that Silk does.
Yeah. So,
and there's no other player who's come before or after who checked those boxes. I mean, so that's just, to me, it's just a no-brainer.
And that's for a couple of years without the 3-point shot. And he's being
yes.
So, yes. This is something interesting. The Duke game, Tommy had 2 phantom fouls. Yeah. And I'll give both you and Silk and Mergen and Bonzi everyone credit, but you only lost by 1 point. And Tommy was out for a long time.
I think if I'm not mistaken, he didn't play the last 15 minutes of the first half. And then, and you as a player, you never try to go back and say, what if? But in that specific situation, it has to be a what if. What if they didn't give him those phantom fouls?
Yeah.
The way that we were playing in the tournament, there's no doubt in my mind we're at the Final 8.
You're not going to lose to Temple 4 times. Everyone said that.
No.
Silk
that was our goal.
Tommy said that.
That was our goal because we lost to them championship game. We lost to them 2 regular season games. Our goal was, we knew that for us to get to the Final 8, it was going to be us and Temple, and we knew each other so well. because we had played each other so many times. So we knew each other so well, but we just said, okay, everybody says 3 times, the third time's a charm. No, for us, we knew it was going to be the fourth time.
I believe it. They were a heck of a team, and John Shea, phenomenal coach. I see why they practice at 5 a.m. The discipline on that team.
Yeah.
If there's other things, does this bring back memories?
Oh God, does it ever? Those ugly moments.
To this I would have loved to be there. Book was telling me it was very cold that day.
Oh my God, it was freezing. I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was freezing. The wind was blowing right off through the water. And Coach Penders kept saying, hurry up and take the picture. Hurry up and take the picture.
And you guys don't look, Coach Penders looks like he's a little bit cold. I can't find that 3-quarter bounce pass that he made against George Washington. I'm looking for it. I really want to find that. We're just going through this. There's so many other things that, but I wanted to get to this and, boom, number 1, 21. And that number should be more if there's a 3-point shot.
Could you imagine
100, 200 points maybe?
If his first 2 years there was a 3-point line, I swear he'd be maybe 2,700 points without easily.
Another thing is he should have been rookie of the year, but when you're not a strong team his freshman year, and Howard Evans is on a Temple team, I thought he had that. But anyway, let's go watch some of Silk's. Let's go to the action. He's got some great. I mean, this stuff. To be honest with you, this gives me the chills watching this stuff. It doesn't get any better than this. Watching the highlights of Silk and you and all the others, and I think you'll.
I think we had beta back then.
Yeah. Look at that shot. Now, Penders, I hear, said it was the ugliest shot he's seen.
And Coach used to tell him all the time, you got the ugliest jump shot I've ever seen in my life.
But, that's a testament to what he did. He had a recovery, couldn't even lift a pencil. One arm shorter than the other. And it doesn't matter how ugly it is, he gets it in. Look at that pass. We're going to have a slow-mo on this. And I think there was a foul called, so it didn't matter, but who cares? Look at this.
No, actually, I think they said that he stepped out of bounds. No, they did call a foul. They did call a foul, but we knew that he stepped out of bounds. This was probably one of the best picks I've ever seen in college basketball.
I'm going to go even into the pros. I mean, he cupped the reverse cup.
He let him go. Yeah, he let him go past him, knowing that that's what he was going to do. He let him go past him. Yeah,
but he switches gears. He's in first.
Yeah.
He's in third gear. Then he goes to first gear. His body control. He stays in the air forever. There's that shot again. Yeah. And that's why he's called Silk, right?
Yep, exactly. That's why they gave him the name Silk.
Yeah, I just it just makes so much to the program to see number 10 up there, and I'd love to see that. There's a few more highlights here, and feel free to chirp in if you want. I'm doing all the talking, but I just love that New York City.
I'm enjoying looking at it. I'm enjoying looking at Keeney Jim.
I know.
The pit.
Would you have preferred to play at the Ryan Center or
no? You know why? Even though the Ryan Center holds more people, playing in Keeney, our fans were right on top of you. They were right on top of the opposing team.
Some of his highlights, he led Elite 8. It really should have been Final 4. Pro career, he played in one game. He hit a 3-pointer. He leads in basketball history. He's number 1 in 3-point shooting percentage. How's that for a statistic?
And you know what? And when you watching videos of both of these kids play when they were in college, I mean, to have your top 2 in points and assists both being left-handers.
I know.
I'm like, geez, I mean, how many more similarities can there be between these two top guys?
He did one thing that you guys couldn't do. He was an owl killer. We got to get to his video highlight reel. Look at this. What about that? What? I can't even.
Right on the money.
I mean, around behind the back, and then this.
Yeah.
He saw angles that no one else could see. Look at this body control.
Yeah.
And then he also had the 3-point distance. And I heard that Coutinho used to complain about his alley-oop passes at first. Believe that? That's a guy hard to please. So he worked it out, but I just didn't know that his stroke was so good.
Yeah.
And he was
pure.
Okay, we can't complain about quality of video. We're looking at this over here. Cartoon, a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Just phenomenal. So he has to be on the Raptors too.
Oh, without a doubt.
Pretty soon.
Without a doubt.
I mean, look at that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Look at the statistics here. Rebounds, block shots. You did it all on the court.
But I love my 3-point percentage.
Oh, really? Tell me about that.
Honestly, can you go back? I shot 50%.
You shot 50. There we go.
No, but honestly, Scott, for me, the best thing and what I'm most proud about was that 98 season, what my shooting percentage was. I mean, I think I shot 68, 69%, and what a lot of people don't get is it was easy to shoot that high percentage when you had two guards like Tommy and Silk, because so much attention was paid to them that I got so many drop off passes, for dunks and just for easy layups. So that was, to me, I mean, everybody talks about the blocks and the rebounds and everything like that, but I said, for me to shoot 68, 69% for a season, I said, for me personally, that was my biggest accomplishment.
And a lot of it came from Tommy because the ball was in Silk's hands. He passed it to Tommy. And if it wasn't Tommy throwing it into you, it was Mergen or
it was Mergen.
John Evans, from what I saw in the video, which was but you had a nice turnaround too. Besides the dunks were very emphatic. The block shots, premier block shot in the nation. You had 8 blocks 5 different times. Coach Penders, I just heard recently, called you guys the big 3. I think that's accurate. This is another one. You played such a dominant level. We've talked about this in the past, without practicing, with 2 bad knees. And, I said this earlier, you're inarguably URI's best big man. You would have been a first-round draft pick. I'm sure of it. This is a Syracuse game. I know that much.
Yeah.
So feel free to let us know what we're looking at here. So you weren't just
you can do in this tournament.
Coach, 27 years all total.
Every time you can get points so quick, it's hard to believe.
There's Green.
Just simply have to do something about that defense. Missouri's laying it up.
Second shot.
Bugaboo with those early rounds. If they can get by this one, they're definitely the team to beat, in my opinion. Actually, he came off the bench a little later than usual. That's because Rhode Island was playing so well. I asked Jim Norman.
A little off to the right for the aim. Hardy. Leonard having it knocked away. Garrick.
First staying zone.
Green putting it. Missouri looking for their 20th win of the year. If they do it, it'll be the 11th time. Green.
My turnaround jumper, I can go over both shoulders. And I always knew that there would be very few people who could block it. So I was very comfortable shooting it. I said, I think when I got measured at combine, I think they measured me as having a 7'1" wingspan. So I knew with my jumping ability and then with my arms that it was going to be very difficult for anybody to block it. So I was always comfortable using it.
Well, we got Tommy Garrick, and he was a work in progress. So I think his statistics after his first 2 seasons were just off the charts, and he would have been right up there too. Yeah.
Tommy would be in the gym before everybody. Tommy would be in the gym after everybody. It was his determination to be, and a lot of it had to do with Silk. Silk pushed Tommy. I mean, really pushed Tommy. And it was almost to the point where Tommy didn't want to let Silk down. So, I mean, I truly believe Tommy said to himself, I've got to work harder than everybody else. And when I say, I've never seen a player never get tired playing basketball. This kid was just an unbelievable athlete. Tommy could run. We do a 2-hour practice. Like I said, he stay after. He's still doing drills 100% full out. I'm like, dude, you're not tired? No. And he would say, I don't have time to be tired. But just an unbelievable athlete. I mean, and take away everything that he did basketball-wise. And I tell everybody that I talk to when they ask about our team and stuff like that, I said, I've never seen a guard in the kind of shape that this kid was in. So I've never seen it. So,
Yeah. He was a machine, and you're right about Silk, because when Silk first came over to Rhode Island, he was staying at Tommy's house, and they were playing every day. Tommy's like, wow, who is this guy? So talk about being pushed. He had right away, he saw how great Silk was. I don't know if he was expecting him to be that great, but one of the best backcourts, they say New England, I'm saying the East. Some of the other things, the 28-7 record, losing to Duke by 1. How about his 50 points in the Atlantic 10 tournament? MVP for a team that lost. They don't do that normally, do they?
He had 50 against West Virginia. It was West Virginia. I remember that game. And it was to the point where literally we went into a huddle. This kid was so hot. We went into the huddle and said, nobody else is going to shoot the ball. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure he shoots the ball every time down the floor. Because he was just so hot, and it was so effortless that he was scoring. I mean, and they were throwing every defense at him. We had boxing 1, triangle 2. They were trapping him. There was everything, but there was nothing they can do against him. I mean, he was just, it was one of those games where as a player playing on the floor with him, that you were just like in awe.
And I will give Penders the credit, because he told you guys to shoot the ball if you believe you could make it. So there was no hesitation and he learned from Silk. Silk said as a young kid, he believed every shot he took was going in. I think a lot of that, like you said, rubbed off on him all the time they spent together.
Garrick against Irving. What a job.
Staying zone.
Green putting it down. All of them coming since 1972, and all of them under Norm Stewart. It's there. Garrick shoots for the lead. It's there. Use sociology and begin to talk to the media.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
It's there. That's Kevin. Kevin had one to fall since. Garrick. He's got best record of the 40s decade. Winning 178 and losing with 44.
It's man for man.
Owens. Garrick. He put him back.
It's down to 6 even to go.
Garrick. So Oakland.
Watch this fake. Good foot fake. Throws the fake. Sends Irving sprawling. A little bit of a shoulder nudge in there too.
Here's Garrick.
I'm going to stop that for a second, because they didn't have the terminology then. Now, when you watch NBA highlights, they're breaking ankles.
It's not even stopping it. Just watching the film of Tommy and Silk, if you go back and you really pay attention to it, how many 3-pointers did these guys actually shoot? 99% of their points came from 2-pointers.
Yeah.
They would get to that free throw line extended, and they were just deadly. I mean, but they were great 3-point shooters. But
percentage-wise, look at him. He was right on silk.
Their philosophy was, I can get into the paint, I can get into that free throw line, and from there, it's just, it's killer from that.
Number 35, Sly Williams, and what this guy did. You'll see the videos, but the numbers that he had. He chose. Do you know this? You know the story. I mean, he was another Connecticut guy.
Yep.
Something about Connecticut. Is it in the water or something? I need to go over there and drink some water. But some people have blamed him for starting the rivalry over again, where there was a lot of bad blood for what he did.
You know, Sly made an honest mistake.
His dad influenced him, though, from what he was saying. His 5th in career scoring. This is really big. You know, he was a winner in his freshman year. They were only 13-13, and then Jack Kraft said, "You got to pass the ball a little more." I don't think Sly liked that, but the next year, I think they got 24 wins, and it was the first time in the NCAA since 1967.
But if I'm not mistaken, Sly only played 3 years.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he only played 3 years. So imagine if he played a full 4 years.
Yeah, and he was a 5-star recruit. We don't have too many of them. Lamar is another one. And he wasn't even recruited as well. I can't believe he wasn't. He had names on there. Texas was on the list, Providence, obviously. But how could you overlook a guy like that? You hear about everyone who put in the work. We talk about Tommy's work ethic, but Silk, too. Everyone thinks Silk just was this great athlete. But Sly really didn't work that hard.
I remember seeing Sly play when I was young in the summer leagues. He would come up to my city because we had the best summer league, and it was just so effortless watching this guy play. It was like, are you serious? I mean, like, legitimately not even sweating and just dominate. I was like, yo, I don't understand how he's not in the pros already. It was just incredible, the talent that he had. And he would talk to us, and he would talk to the younger generation and stuff like that. You know, and he would always preach, you got to work hard. And when we really watched him and heard and really learned about him, we were like, you're telling us to work hard. Dude, you don't even work hard. You're just naturally God gifted.
He was born, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see this here.
Great shooting here in the second half. Stanley Wright to a cutter. Sly, he lays it up and in. The Sly playing the right sideline now. Goes baseline. He takes an 18-footer. That is good. Outside, Stanley Wright, top of the key. Sly with about a 20-footer. That's good again. Lem Johnson with the ball, working it out to Jiggy. Top of the key, Sly. There's about a 22-footer. That's good again. He drives. He's getting in. He puts it up underhand. And in. Off the backboard.
Became a Rhode Island Ram.
Sly Williams shoots and hits. That's a pretty shot to watch. Sly Williams, there's two.
That's a goaltending violation if you hit any part of the basket of the rim more than that.
I didn't see it either. Sly Williams bats it away and out of bounds. 5 seconds. Looking for Williams. Yes.
You dug to find those highlights.
I did. You have to check out a documentary with Abu Bakar and how he goes on the train and he just doesn't stop at PC. He stops in Kingston.
He stops in Kingston. He gets off the train. I'm supposed to be here, aren't I?
Yeah.
Just incredible. You know, and like I said, and this is, you know, our difference. You know, Sly for me, he's got to be in that first group. Has to be. I mean, because
I know
just from his stats and just what he meant to the school and the program, and really starting to bring the program into the forefront. How can just?
And he's a lefty.
And another lefty
by 1 point also. Everyone loses.
Exactly. There's something about URI. There's something about URI and Duke that we're going to lose, and it's only going to be by 1 point.
Yeah. Well, Tommy was saying in an interview recently, he doesn't have this hatred to PC. It's Duke that he holds.
Oh yeah,
he's okay with PC. I thought that was interesting.
No, you know what? My 4 years at URI, I used to go hang out at PC. I was really good friends with all those guys and stuff like that. So for me, I never saw it as a rivalry. I mean, it was just another team that we were playing, and they were good friends of mine. Duke, on the other hand, but you know what it was? I think it was because of their cockiness. They were a very cocky bunch of guys. They walked on the floor cocky. Krzyzewski walked on the floor cocky.
Really? Wow.
So it was to the point where when you know that you can play with somebody regardless of what they're ranked or who they are, whatever else. So for us, it didn't phase us. It didn't affect us because our goal, as we spoke about in the beginning, our goal was that next game, Temple. So we didn't care if we were playing Duke or we were playing the Knicks or we were playing the Lakers. We didn't care. Our focus was that next game against Temple. Because for me, that was my rivalry, Temple.
They were big,
you know,
their size.
No, I mean, I think, no, they were ranked that year. They were ranked number 1.
Yes.
Temple was ranked number 1. And I mean, and they deserved that ranking because of, you know, they had an unbelievable out of conference schedule. And I mean, they were just running through everybody. And so to me, PC was never my rivalry. It was always Temple. And then when, you know, like saying, losing to Duke, there's bitterness there, of course, because I know that it was taken away from us. It wasn't, I know in my mind, and I've watched that game over, they didn't earn that game. They didn't earn that game. No. It was taken, it was taken from us. So, but I mean, it is what it is.
My goal was to get Tommy on. I don't know how to reach him, but when I do, I'm going to have video of the game, and I'm going to have the first 2 fouls on there and show everyone what those fouls were, and we'll go from there. Here we go with my pick, not yours. You know who I'm going after here. This guy is unreal. Yeah, number 5.
True guard skills.
Yeah, and you'll see in the videotape too, but his numbers were okay. And it wasn't about his numbers and his stats that I picked him. I have a few other reasons, and here they are. And some of them are unrelated. Just being the number 1 high school player in the USA to choose URI means a lot. It puts URI on the map. I know others have put URI on the map, but his name and it hanging from the rafters would mean a lot to see Lamar Odom. I mean, Michael Jordan's in Miami Heat's arena. He's retired. And he didn't get along with Pat Riley too well.
Yeah.
He beat Temple when it was almost impossible to beat Temple on that shot. Guy's been through everything. He's won championships, 6-man of the year. He says that's his biggest shot ever. Other things that I think about, you know, he got that Atlantic 10 championship, which is so hard to get, and he did it.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, he rebounded really well, and it would be pretty cool. It would be great for business to see Lamar's jersey out there. So that's my reason. Watch this 6'10" with freakish guard skills. I mean, this is against PC, I had. So he's got the jumper, he's got the handle, and he's 6'10". And he's so tall, and he just takes it to the hole.
I mean, he was just a true matchup horror for whatever team. I mean, you put a smaller guy on him, he's going to jump over you. You put a bigger guy on him, he's going to go around him. So I mean, he was a true matchup horror for any team that played against him.
Look at this play here. I mean, this is just crazy, his athletic ability.
Yep.
Okay, so he misses badly. And the ball goes almost out of bounds. He just reaches over. Excuse me, I'm not finished yet. Puts the ball up.
Yep.
And look at this touch inside.
Okay. Post game, everything. He was a complete player.
And his statistics didn't show, but if you watch him on the court and what he did and getting other people involved and just taking over a game like this, those strides, those are like
Tournament. Good Odom with 4. Odom 30 feet away. Jumper in the air. He's got it. Lamar Odom has won it for Rhode Island. What a... Lamar Odom. That's why they...
To Lamar Odom, his superstar, and that was a shot under pressure by Keaton Sanders. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
We've seen him stroke it from long range, and
But if you pay attention to the film stat, it's hilarious because our fans didn't know how to act. I mean, you saw maybe 3 or 4 people storm the court.
I didn't notice that.
Nobody else's fault. You know, it's a championship game.
Yeah.
You would think it's a buzzer beater. You just won your first Atlantic 10 championship. You would think the whole stands would. You got maybe 10 people storm the court. Everybody else is doing it.
That's a security light. Security guard. Right now they're having trouble with the Yankee games here. I don't know if you know. But you're right. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
We got one more guy.
I think the first time I saw that film, I noticed that the first time I ever saw, that video.
Steve Chubin, 35. He had some great numbers. I thought he was a big guy before I started this exercise. He was a guard.
A guard.
Big win against UConn in '66. Took him to the NCAA. Those are the type of people that I believe if you could take a team to the NCAA, and he did.
Yeah.
He's currently the all-time leading scorer. He was 6th at the time.
Yep.
He was also the all-time leading scorer. Averaged a lot of points.
21 points in his career.
And you go to the other areas, 6'3", 200. He lived in cushy Forest Hills from New York City.
Yeah.
But he, ABA guy, he had the average, that's an excellent average to have, 21.2. And he played for a guy named Ernie Cavalry.
Yeah.
Who was actually a really great coach. And he was a very good, the ABA had talent. In some cases, they drafted better than the NBA. And then you see all the things that he's done, points, and that's obviously where you're at with that.
I mean, if you go back to that last one.
Yeah.
So all right, so he's number 10. Field goals made, free throws made. He's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, field goals made for the career. I mean, it's just, and like you said, I mean, I think his team wasn't the first to go to NCAA, or were they? No, I think somebody. I don't know if his team was.
Yes, he was.
His team was the first team to go from Rhode Island and go to the NCAA. I mean, so that's why I say when you bring me, these guys set the standard. Even though if you ask 99% of the players who've come from URI, Do they know about Sly? Do they know about Steve? They'll say no. For me, I was always taught that you want to know who came before you and know what they did. So that's your goal, to beat that. So, I mean, I was taught that in high school, and it carried over into college. So I knew about Sly. I knew about Steve. I had researched these guys. So, and I knew that they were the stepping stone for myself and everybody else to come after me.
I wanted to thank you for coming in today.
Oh no, Scott, I know that all the time. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, put this together. Hopefully, the things that are seen, and from you and some of the other guys that we've done things with, some of these things are seen and really taken into consideration by the administration. And steps are taken to actually do something. I mean, rather now than later. I mean, it's been later for 30, 40 years now. It's time now. It's just time. Like you said, I truly believe by doing this, more revenue will come into the program. You might see higher profile players. And, somebody said to me, well, as a player, that doesn't mean anything. I said, but you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm like, if I'm a recruit and I go to Syracuse, and then my next visit is URI, and I walk into the Ryan Center, and I see a woman's name, and then two men, and I think the first one is from the 40s or whatever. As a player, my thing is, and it's true, nobody else came to this school. Nobody, because at that point in time, this generation, they have no idea. If you said Lamar Odom, Lamar Odom, they'll know who Lamar Odom is, but they would have never known that he came to URI, that he played for URI. They'll know who Coutinho is, but they would never have known Coutinho went to URI. So this is why I say that it's important. It's important because you're going to, first of all, you're celebrating your history. I don't care what anybody says. The history of our program, of the URI program, isn't celebrated. And it's not celebrated for that being one of the main reasons, because there's no visibility to what's happened and the history of URI basketball, because there's no numbers, there's no names. And then somebody said, well, we shouldn't retire numbers because, what somebody, I said, listen, it doesn't make a difference if it's a number or a name. Who gives a crap? But something has to be done. There has to be, there's enough space in the Ryan Center that we can have numbers or names going around the whole freaking Ryan Center. We've had that many good players in this program, in the school history, that you can go around the whole thing. But for it to be this long and nothing to be done, to me, that's where the disconnect is at. There's a disconnect between the administration and the previous players. Someone said to me, well, it's not someone, but it was stated to me, well, the former players don't contribute back to the program. I said to him, why? Why should we? You don't celebrate us. There's nothing done for, and I said, let's take, for instance, the 88 team, the 98 team. When have these two teams been celebrated?
Well, they will now.
I said,
Thor's going to do
the Hurley team, okay, you celebrate this team because it's recent. The Ryan Center isn't there without the 88 team. I said, we brought the revenue that we brought into the school by going as far as we did. The notoriety that we gave the school, that 88 team. but you haven't celebrated that team yet. I'm like, how difficult? And I don't understand why there's not a committee.
Well, what you have done, my friend, is started the process. And I have had the pleasure of interviewing. I've met Dora for a while now, and new president Mark Parlange, and I have faith in them. And I really like what Mark's done in the short time that he's here. So we're going to have this video go out. I want so many views, not just for the podcast, but so people can become educated with the past and the present, or just relive. I mean, I loved it tonight. And I've seen, many times I've seen that video putting it together.
It's great to see, the video, the games that you put up. And, like I said, I haven't seen Sly's. I've never seen Sly's videos.
I know. I love
I've never seen Steve's video. I mean, so it's great seeing these things. It's just to see what's going on in the history of URI by you doing this. It's a great feeling to see these things.
Well, thank you. No better person than you. You've been championing this, and let's stay positive. I believe in administration. We have you there. This is another video that will get people pumped up everywhere, and we will have names on the rafters retired with their numbers. It's very hard to say that. Retired numbers with their jerseys on the rafters. Ryan Center. Kenny, I'll let you get some sleep.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate
Next time
you.
I see you, I want you and Silk to be with me at a Ryan Center game. And
no, definitely. We'll definitely be at the games.
And others too, but
sure.
It's just great. I pleasure the friendship that we've had through the years, and
I appreciate it.
Coming in today, I'll end it.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
We have a video after this of all the players that we showed today, a compilation of them. So we'll end it that way. Hashtag Go Rhody.
Go Rhody.
Okay. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you, Scott.
Watch this fake. Good foot fake. Throws the fake. Sends Irving sprawling.
But the bottom of the net.
We've seen him stroke it from long range, and